Hey, Lou, you reading again?
Yeah, boy, you're keeping abreast with this book, Love language,
What?
You never could grow tired of learning what is the real love language of your partner.
What you saying, girl? Love languages. But we can write that book,
Yeah, I suppose so. After all these years.
I think this book is on Amazon, eh?
Yes.
Somebody was inquiring and we found out that the love languages
Yes.
is available on Amazon. But tell me something. What about the Ghost of Korra? Where are you reaching it? Where are you reaching the Ghost of Korra, girl?
Oh gosh, Nancy, I start back and I start back again. Each time I try to go further, then I find myself picking up the love language. But I love the ghost,
You love the ghost?
Yeah.
But you the first woman I know could love a ghost.
Well, the ghost is real to me.
Alright, the ghost is real. You think you could spare me just a few seconds to read something?
Sure.
Alright, let's be careful there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to read something here because somebody said that there's a part of this book here that sound like you and I. But I don't know, right? So we're going to talk about the love languages just now. When Eusebio and Martha met in 1909, it was love at first sight. He could vividly remember the night they met at his 21st birthday party in Coconut Village, a small village along the road to Cora. She was 19 when she stepped into his parents' home wearing a red dress and an unusual hair clip. When Eusebio saw her, he felt he could have danced all night. He could have danced all night and still have asked for more.
I felt the same way.
But you didn't ask to dance all night?
No, well, you had a cliche of ladies waiting to dance,
What?
So I was lucky to at least get one dance.
Very good, very good. He had been drinking but was sober enough to know the feeling of love.
Love is in the air.
He could barely restrain himself from crushing her in his arms and suspected she would not have objected. He could not, however, resist the temptation to kiss her on the dance floor, and he mustered the courage to chance it. A quick peck on her forehead, and he waited. And he waited. She was not offended, but looked him seriously in the eye, wondering as she recalled later, was it the alcohol or was it genuine interest? 2 weeks later, they met under more serene circumstances, and things got serious. Their relationship took off like an agouti running from hound dogs. And 3 months later, they ran full speed to the warden's office. You think this is you and I?
Well, it's some fiction too.
Fiction? All right. Okay. Well, girl, I will tell you the truth, I am glad for everybody who's supporting this novel, the Ghost of Korra. And I must say, too, that recently, Lyndon has been doing pretty good with Men and Misfits. It's a collection of short stories, and they're doing pretty well. He also has this thing called Oh My Testicles, and that's a medical account of an experience he had.
It's not suspicious of that name, eh?
No, it's nothing smutty in this book. This book is absolutely about a medical experience.
Exactly.
It was well written. And then we have, of course, 90 Days of Violence. And this has to do with, some, it would be better if people would, support the novels.
But I am amazed at how Lyndon was able to capture so much violence in this book, and so real, and so prolific that he captured, these bad guys for a child who grew up in a very sheltered home. It was very amazing how he was able to come up with some of the characters.
That he did, eh?
Yeah.
Well, you see, I will tell you something. He's a bright fellow. He has a lot of imagination. He's talented, like his mother, of course.
No, the journalism is on your part, darling.
Oh, God. But take some credit, man. Your family is do good too, you know. Michael Cozier produced some very good books in Itacas, you know.
Very humorous.
Yeah, Michael Cozier has done exceptionally well. And he's on to good things. You know.
I think he's writing another novel right now.
Well, I can't tell you too much about it. We did speak about it, but he is a... So you see, on both sides, you could say, if I may say, on both sides, there's some talent. I am just waiting for you now to put pen and paper together. And
I'd rather talk me story.
let me tell you something too. You mind if I read something else?
Go right ahead.
Right now, with England and the world talking about the Queen's death, in the Ghost of Cora, there's a particular episode where the English cricketers are trying to dominate the Trinidad scene. They have been going hard at keeping that English reputation alive, you know. But I just want to read a little portion where people could justifiably feel that, you know, the British have really impressed their power on their colonies. And the reaction of people towards this is somewhat highlighted in this book.
Okay.
Let me read this little portion to you. Atkins struggled to climb off the car, then began walking towards the field. As he walked, he addressed the gathering crowd. It's the day when the lords of cricket, the game founded and mastered on British soil, shall triumph again before your very eyes. The megaphone crackled again. We shall now sing the King's Anthem, said Atkins flatly. Inside Peter's rum shop, Scotty and old Eric, hidden from view at a corner table, did not stand. When the anthem ended, old Eric cursed and muttered, Imagine the British referring to us as enemies when it is they who manipulate our lives. Look how a stupid megaphone has stopped everyone in their tracks. How much further do they want us to bow? And what the hell does knavish mean? Scotty asked. Old Eric shook his head and said, Rogue. I don't know that word either. Undisciplined. Scotty unsheathed his cutlass and put it on the table. And this is just a small take on the sentiments running through, and this is in a period called maybe 1945. This is set back in 1945. And even then, there were people who were looking forward to the time when we would have our independence. How strong we are now, how much distance we have put, freedom we have between those colonial years and what might obtain today, we really don't know.
Sure.
But we know one thing. We are a people, a nation, born into independence now. Our younger people would not know the struggles that the older folk had and what they fought for. So when the Union Jack came down in 1972 and the Trinidad flag went up, that was a very significant event for us here in Trinidad and Tobago.
A landmark.
A landmark occasion. So, my dear girl, I've done all the talking. What do you have to tell us today about the love languages?
Well, more and more you're realizing that you have to be familiar with what means everything to your mate. And, you know, just don't do it in the traditional way of life. Each person has to be measured by their own yardstick. What works for you and I may not work for someone else.
Okay.
Because we know that different people have different love language. There are those who love gifts. There are those who love services. There are those who love affirmations and compliments. And we just have to work with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, what works for you may not work for someone else. So it's to understand what is your baggage or your bundle of love,
right,
and work with that.
But tell me something, Louise. I appreciate that, working with what you have. I mean, somebody said recently, when we were doing that motivational video, someone said that they discern in maybe my voice, that I bully you. Do you think over the years, after 51 years of marriage, you could look back and say, I have bullied you, really, into doing things?
No, not at all. I would not say that. What I would say, and I always take an opportunity to tell you, is you do become anxious about things, particularly with time. You're very anxious about time. And although we are retired, and we may not be going to something with a timing. If you're working with a time, then that's important. But you don't need to put time to what time we leave to go to the beach and what time we should come back, and you know.
My dad used to do that, you know.
Well, it pass on.
He used to get up 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, everybody, we're heading to Toko. You know, them days, going to Toko
was far.
Cora, and the road was so bad, it would take you 2.5 hours.
I experienced that once or twice.
Oh my goodness, so here now, we pull out of the house about maybe say 7, 8 o'clock.
Mother done cook a nice curry, chicken with potato and thing, and rice.
And we heading through Sandy Grande, yeah? And we going up the road, boy, and when we get to the beach, Father stretch out, man, and he say, yes, we made it. He goes into the water for about 15 minutes, and then he comes out and he say, what are we having for lunch? Then he eats, and then he goes, then he take a little dip again, he say, all right, back home.
I remember that, boy. I remember that so well.
Oh,
and after all this effort on a Saturday to leave home so early, you're even going to have a half an hour bath. And Father ready to come back home.
Yeah, it was tough.
And everybody will express their disgust.
Yeah.
And then he will want to make up your rubber with the corn.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So coming back now, he probably felt a little guilty about hustling people, you know, as you're talking about time. So we stopped in Sandy Grande, and he must, I better make up for this, you know, this hustle that I put on them. So he sees a woman selling corn, and he says, bring corn. So she looks in the car, and she realized a couple of heads well. So she starts putting the corn together. And then he said, how much for the corn? And she must have said 30 cents. What? And he drives off. But he wasn't a bad fella, eh?
No, but you know, Lancy, now when I look back at, you know, Father's reaction on money, spending money, like now, when you hear about we going out for dinner and you're going to spend $1,800 with a family of 10 to 15, that is like, you know how much food I could cook with that? And have a party with about 30, 40 people.
Wow.
You know? So it really is. To the young people, they will say, but wait, now that's not much money. That is not even $200 a person. But when you look back now at $200, what you could have done with $200 long time, that's like $2 million for Father, you know.
Yes. And I mean, he was the sole breadwinner.
Yeah.
You know.
And then you remember that night when Bernice and those girls came in for holidays, and we decide, man, we're going down to Valley Ranch. When I tell you, Valley Ranch in those days was a really beautiful place. That was somewhere off in the back by
when you're going into Point Cumana, somewhere around there. Going into as you pass West Morins and you
Bayshore,
yeah.
And this nice environment there on the hills, and it was like a sort of Spanish hacienda type building, and you could dine open air, and then you could dance, you know. Boy, and we had a good time. We all decided we were going to chip up and pay the bill. But Father declared he's going to pay the bill. When Father had $1,300, that was like $13,000 for Father, oh boy. Father said, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
We say, but Father, we ain't even dance yet. The idea is you're going to enjoy the music and the ambience. You know, you don't just eat and rush off. No. This place is robbery. It's robbery with V.
You man like turning the green hair and all of this, you know. Go ahead. Speaking.
Right, so we're going down the road now and we reach by Holiday Inn, boy. Dennis, these two I used to be in Holiday Inn on a Friday
he had
night.
magical fingers, eh?
So he get the idea, okay, let's stop off at Holiday Inn and have a drink. Yeah, well, everybody felt, well, the night is still young and we're going to dance to Dennis' Sousa. Everybody pull up their face and start to smile again. We going in there. At that time now, a drink was like a cover charge.
Right.
Because somebody will come and buy one drink and dance all night, and they're making no money. So like a Coke alone was like something like $10. That time a Coke is 30 cents, eh? When we finished, had our first drink, Father called for the bill. How much? $100. Father said, let's get out of here. Off we go home. Vex. Oh gosh, boy.
So what people do nowadays, really, I mean, in this COVID period and restrictions, and how do young people really handle their stories now when they go out and all of that?
Well, young people now is a real change in era and everything, you know. You know, like long ago, when you go out, well, especially as a couple, the man always pay the bill. But now it's nothing for a young lady to say the treat is on me and she pay, you know. And they go out as friends, and it's done the way America do it. The Americans, when you go out, I remember the first time going out and all these friends met together and everybody got their bill and they paid individually for their meal. That was a kind of culture shock for me.
Really?
Because we know when you go out, you treat it on you.
Right.
But our young people have learned that they can't foot the bill for everybody, but at least we can go out and have a good time together.
Everybody pay their own
and
way.
everybody pay their own way.
Yeah.
So that has really changed to how we knew it in our days. And they don't mind the price, really. They could tell you about all the nice places you could go and eat, you know.
So if I follow carry out this girl and say we're having doubles tonight, she had to pay for one doubles too?
No, well, nice. You can double up on that. Price cheap, you know.
Price cheap.
So she could eat about 4 doubles.
Well, she may even need him to go to get doubles. Eh? Yeah.
But good old days. We tell ourselves good old days will not come back. But I think that with COVID and the lockdown and so, I could see shades of the old days came back. More and more people started making stuff at home because you couldn't go out. So people learned to cook. People pull out, they Google how to make banana bread, how to make sponge cake, how to make black cake, how to make
Talking about that,
different
Louise, talking
things.
about that, what about the cornbread?
Oh gosh, boy, I had to get the corn.
Did you get the corn? Okay.
But the tree I planted.
So I can't look forward to all in a hurry.
Nah, you'll get a coconut bake before.
Okay. Yeah, coconut bake, I could take on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Eddie up in Canada would love to have a piece of coconut bake. Eh?
You think you know what that? I know about roti and doubles.
Nah, Eddie's a real West Indian man. Eddie's a real West Indian. He would know. Yes.
So what else you would like to talk about?
This question, somebody, you went to the dentist yesterday. Let me say one. Oh gosh, Dr. Rudal did a wonderful job. Dr. Rudal, he really did a nice job. Your smile improved. You get better looking overnight. Yeah, I think he's a good. I think he's a good dentist. Wherever, you know.
Yeah, very good.
There's places in Europe, yeah. But if anybody interested, we could always give them the, you know, we could always in the comment section sometime give Dr. Rudal a little plug, you know.
Gotta pick him up. He's a good dentist. Good
Yeah.
dentist.
Yes. But he mentioned to you something, a line he liked in merely conversing, not gossiping. Something to that effect. Who had told you about that?
It was that old lady down the road, Mr. Arthur, mother-in-law. She was over 90s.
Right.
And she was talking, and then she realized that, well, you know, she's talking, and we don't know who she's talking about or whatever. And she says, I'm not gossiping, you know. I'm merely conversing.
That is a very good way to look at some subjects, eh?
Yes.
You're not gossiping.
To converse.
I think one of the things that really we fail at is being able to converse without it getting into a quarrel.
It don't have to be issues.
Yeah, we don't have to have issues. We're conversing about certain subjects that might not be affecting a family, a neighborhood, you know, something on the job. You're conversing, but we tend as human beings to really take it out of context and put it into that quarrelsome state that doesn't bring resolution.
Yeah. You must be able to look at things objectively. You know, don't be picky and picking every line, and you know, you have to let some balls fall and don't get personal. You can discuss things, but do not get personal, or don't say things. Or if you're talking about a situation, you don't need to be so graphic and enraged to just talk about it. There's so much bitterness, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, we can discuss things without getting too emotional.
Very good. But it's not always easy, eh? Because some topics are very flammable.
Yeah.
They catch easy, you know, and they tend to. I mean, looking at it from what you an objective point of view, but when the shoe gets on your foot and it begins to squeeze you tend to forget that you're conversing.
And you become
aggravated and whatnot. So it's just keep a nice little balance in life.
And don't be quick to be judgmental.
Yeah, that's something we have to be constantly fighting against.
Yeah. You know, you listen without being biased. Because I always like to think that there are two sides to a story. Yeah? You know, I think having worked in an audit department, you will talk to somebody and then you figure something, part of the story missing.
Right.
It doesn't add up.
Right.
And that is why you need to discuss things and hear what others have to say. So then you get a clear understanding of what happened and why it happened. You know?
You were telling me the other day about I think I read through that book, the five love languages.
Yes.
They were saying that you should make a request of your partner rather than a demand of your partner.
Yes, I agree with that. Because when you make a request, you give the person an opportunity to agree or to disagree. When you demand it, the person may not really want to, they may not feel like doing that, or they may not feel that that is how I want to spend my time. You know, you remember when we went to Disney World a few years ago and the children was small? Many years ago, about 30, 40 years ago. And we went in the Canadian Pavilion, and there was a show on, and the wife was telling the husband, it's a beautiful day for painting the porch. And he said, I'm going fishing with the boys.
That was the grandfather, you know.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember saying, oh my goodness, even in Canada, have that same issue.
Yeah. Men seek out company of men, and they need a little man time, and women do the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So we have to draw a balance. We have to draw an even ground. You need your time for yourself. and the man needs his time for himself.
Yeah.
And then when rational takes over, we say, okay, well, I have done this with the boys. I have done this with, I have seen to my own likes. Let me see now if I could just do what the lady wants me to do. Right? It doesn't make me less of a man, and it will make you more of a woman.
Yeah, you have to, it's about give and take, eh?
Give and take. That's the thing, man. Give and take.
People always say that, it's give and take. But some people only take. They don't give.
They don't give, yeah.
So you have to, marriage and a lifelong future together calls for, understanding and reciprocating and consideration. And,
Yes.
And it works out in the end. Not demanding.
Right.
And I think over the years, not to big up myself, but I think that I would normally say, Lance, I would like to do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would say, no, I don't plan to do this weekend at all. I drive, it's too far to go. My back hurting me. And I would back off. Your back hurting, I back off, yes? Anytime your back hurting, I back off.
Right, back off.
I back off, and then you might just come up and say, all right, if you want to go, we will go down Friday night or, Saturday morning early. So we have to sometimes know when to back off, when to push, when to stay still.
Right.
Because, you're dealing with different personalities. And you're not always on the same page.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in the front page and the person in the back page. See how much you're catching up, yeah?
Yeah, boy, especially.
But anyway, at 51 years,
yes.
I think I on page 51 with you.
Very good. Well, Louise,
the book almost finished reading.
Right. So this whole episode is really about bringing out the best in your soulmate.
Yes, of course.
Bringing out the best in your soulmate.
Because at the end of the day, is our happiness, We have gone through a whole loop of seeing children, having had 4 children, taking them to school, elementary school, secondary school, in some cases further education, university. And all through this time, we have great responsibilities. So now, for the last 15 years, I have been retired, and you likewise. It's life, we pick up our lives. We pick up our lives, and whatever remaining life you have, you don't want to be stressed out and getting involved in, children having to learn with their own family. It's a learning process. Everybody learn through the experience. You're there for support, but at the same time, life is about us.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, and God, by God's grace.
That's right, you can't forget that one, eh?
Yes, of course. Everything, it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you. And you acknowledge your Savior and your Master.
That's right.
And allow His will in your life, and then everything else just follows suit. And nice chatting with you.
Yeah, I think
we're really conversing, right?
We're really conversing. You want some water?
Yes, thank you.
In the meantime, you could read, right, darling?
Okay.
Okay, good.